What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today is July the 31st. I want to give you a quick pre-market update over some of the hot movers and what big money is really focusing on today. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So starting off with data, we just had roughly about 15 seconds ago PCE and also initial jobless claims coming out. So initial jobless claims came in at 218 versus a forecast of 220. PCE month over month came in flat at 0.3. Year over year was slightly higher, no different than the CPI print last time. So that's to be expected, I think, in my opinion. Aside from this, though, the market is very hyped up because of both Meta and Microsoft's earnings. So that was one of the biggest factors pushing it higher. So Dow is up 0.31, S&P 0.99, and NASDAQ up 1.4. So it looks as though that the market's not really moving so far because of the PCE and also initial jobless claims. So we'll wait and see how that does play out, but I don't think, even worst case scenario, people inversely assume that for no rate cuts, that potentially won't kill the momentum. So let me know your general thoughts on that. Getting right to it, SoFi is kicking ass and taking names this morning. There is a couple attributing factors to that. So one is just Robinhood's earnings, which was relatively good, but they themselves did not give good future guidance. They actually did mention that they were not going to be pursuing a charter. It wasn't kind of in their benefit ultimately. So when that comment was made, SoFi did jump up. So clearly SoFi investors were somewhat worried about Robinhood behind the scenes. So nonetheless, good stuff. They're also participating at the conference at JMP. Sorry, not a conference. It's just like a one-on-one with Anthony. It's not being kind of posted. It's not webcast or anything like that. So it's very odd in my opinion. As I mentioned in my video yesterday, I do feel that that's going to be a big announcement for SoFi, but we'll just have to kind of sit tight and wait. That's at 1:30 on a side note. Regarding shorts, 10.86% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 126.59 million shares overall being shorted. So shorts have started to kind of learn their lesson for the most part and kind of do the right thing. Right now, though, with at 22.54, it is trading between these 2 points. So this R3 and this R2. 22.39 is going to be a strong support. 23.24 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. So I feel like today you might have some extra volatility potentially touching this R2, but generally it is going to, I don't think there's anything that could come out that will really disrupt SoFi's momentum right now. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi, and if you plan on buying or if you're kind of locking in profits, what's your kind of thoughts on that? But ticker LIDR is up 6.27%. Only news that did come out is that they are now compliant with the NASDAQ. So they were above $1 for 10 consecutive days between July the 16th and the 29th. So exactly 10 business days. Regarding shorts, 32.12% of the free floats being shorted. So this is going to be an interesting type of scenario because it is up in the morning because of compliance news, but in reality, that doesn't really change all that much operationally. So shorts, I don't think are going to really let up. Most likely they'll be fairly active today, so just kind of be aware of that. But nonetheless, though, clearly the stock has went from roughly $1 to a high of, looks like $6.40 actually. So this stock has really proven that it can actually go up. And to be fair, during that time frame, it actually did put out some pretty substantial news. So I think shorts will be active. That's kind of the moral of the story. A lot of shorts. So when it comes to the technicals, with it right now at 372, it is trading between this R1 and the pivot. So 360 is going to be a absolute key level that you want to watch for on a technical standpoint if you're going to see a continued push higher. 526 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. And even though it does seem far off, like clearly the stock's proven multiple times over the last couple of weeks that it can easily go there. So I wouldn't really count that 526 down and out. So if you're trying to dollar cost average, swing trade, orient, in my opinion, towards this pivot point, and then hopefully big money just is able to rocket it to even the R2. So 629. Moving on, absolutely amazing name, Pineapple Financial, up 31.99%. But this stock has been very odd. So I've covered this as well in a pre-market because generally what I do is I bring up a lot of the trending stocks and what's really popular this morning, what big money's focusing on. So this is very heavily traded, but there's been no news whatsoever. So just do your own due diligence, of course. One thing that really started to gain its hype was ultimately on July the 16th when they did a reverse stock split. So July 16th, they did a 1-for-20. So I think at the end of the day, this stock is another interesting type of beast. So yeah, maybe they're just similar to ticker LIDR deficient, and they're trying to regain compliance possibly, because obviously if you kind of did that 1-for-20, they would have been deficient throughout May and June. So yeah, this one is a interesting one, but regardless, big money is definitely focusing on it today, and it doesn't appear to be heavily shorted. So 0.28% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 2,000 shares. So it is truly institutions just legitimately buying it. So good to see. With it right now at $4 though, it is trading between this pivot and this S1. So 238 is going to be a strong support. 521 will be the next strong target / resistance point. So similar to ticker LIDR, this stock has really proven that it can easily go up. So don't count it down and out. So just watch for that alongside 805 and then 980. Moving on, ticker NVO, no news from them, but I think they're just piggybacking off of their technicals and just the negativity surrounding them. So that's why they are down 1.28%. Not heavily shorted, so 0.82% of the free floats being shorted, so that's not going to be a point to kind of pay attention to today. With it, pre-market at 49.18, it is trading between this S2 and this S3, so completely just in the gutter. So I think a lot of people on social media are kind of bringing this up as a value play. So if you believe in catching falling knives and whatever else, this one might be for you. But even as I mentioned, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I have to look at the 1 week chart only because this stock has fallen so much. So 39.12 and then 64.58 is going to be the next kind of key pivots. So just watch for that. And then last but not least, absolutely amazing earnings, APLD. So they're up 22.83% during the pre-market. What's interesting is that they are heavily shorted. So this will be a little bit of a battle today. 34.26% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 66.32 million shares overall being shorted. Right now with it at 12.37, it is trading between this R1 and the pivot. So 11.17, just watch for that to be the support, and then 14 to be the next strong target / resistance. In my opinion, I think it is just still going to be closing within this range, most likely not touching this R1, possibly at one point maybe touching this pivot point, but nonetheless I think it's phenomenal earnings and it justifies this green day. So let me know your thoughts on these stocks. What are you buying? What are you selling? One final thing, pop over to my Patreon. I do give buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. Worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.